Welcome to Wellness Rebranded, the podcast for women ready to redesign their relationship with food, fitness, and feelings.
We are a registered dietitian, a personal trainer, and a mental health therapist. 3 experts, 1 mission.
To help you break free from diet culture, hustle culture, and emotional burnout, let's redefine what wellness really means on your terms.
When we recorded last episode, at the end of the episode, I mentioned to Elizabeth and Tara the confusion that Elizabeth question left on me. Not the confusion, the impact actually that her question had on me. It took me a while to think about the question and my answer, and I found it to be such a good question for me. So this is a follow-up episode on our last episode. So if you haven't listened to our last episode, please pause, go back, listen to that episode, and come back to us. This is like when you watch movie part 1 and then you want to watch it before you watch part 2. Same here. So Elizabeth asked a very powerful question on the last episode that, as expected, we all took it in a different way, but it was important for me to talk about this question, and we wanted to bring this conversation to you in case that question also brought different thoughts and feelings for you. So what was the question, Elizabeth? Let's remind them.
The question was, just as a reminder, we were talking about, I just want to feel good in my body this summer. And my question was, if I had a magic wand and I waved it and I took changing anything about your physical appearance, your weight, your shape, how tight your butt is, how flabby or not flabby your triceps are, what does that leave you with? How are you going to feel the best that you can in your body with that off the table? And that brought up a lot of things for you, Maria.
So for me, it was like the behaviors that I'm doing now, right? Like I'm spending time with friends and family. I'm working on stress management. I'm spending time in nature. I'm moving my body in a way that feels good to me. I'm prioritizing like fiber and protein and things like that, right? So that was my answer. And Maria took it a very different direction, which me and Elizabeth had a lot of conversation, and Maria had a lot of conversation about this after we hit pause or stop on recording. And we wanted to jump back in because Maria's answer was really like telling, I think. Do you want to give your answer, Maria?
Okay, so here's the question. The question is, if this is how I took it or how I'm understanding, the question is, all of a sudden you're told that no matter what you do, your body cannot change physically, correct? So no matter what you do, this is the body you're going to have. But it's so complex, because does that mean that when I'm 75, my abilities are going to stay the same, or is that changing? It's just the look of my body. Okay, just the look of my body. And then you ask, what are things that are you focusing on looking good or feeling good? And that hit a chord for me too, because I never thought about it that way. And I'm like, wow, is definitely, I mean, in my life is definitely more about feeling good than looking good. And I design my life in a way that feels good.
Okay, and hopefully you'll be okay with me sharing this, Maria. But then you said, but I would only eat chocolate cake for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and I would never go to the gym again, and I wouldn't feel restricted anymore.
Yes.
And you were hesitating to say that out loud, and then it sparked a conversation of like, oh, isn't that so interesting? That's a conversation I have with people a lot when they say, oh, well, if like, okay, I'm not going to diet anymore, and then I'm going to eat intuitively, and then that just means I'm going to eat all the things all the time, and I'm uh, uh you know uh I wouldn't care about anything. But that's actually not intuitive eating. That's just eating with abandon, right? And then my question to you, or my thought back to you, was, but if you did that, would you actually be feeling good?
No.
Would you be feeling physically and mentally and emotionally well?
And that's why it was so impactful, because I was like, no, not at all. But my first thought is like, if my body's not going to change, I'll keep dancing because I enjoy that. But when I go to the gym, I wouldn't have such a plan of, I'm going to do this machine with the excitement that I could make my butt tighter. right? I would not do that machine anymore if I don't feel like it, right? That day, I would go do something. Actually, I would probably just dance all day long and I would just go to different dance classes and not necessarily the gym. So, yes, that was my first thought. And I also thought, okay, I would eat chocolate every day, all the time, because I love chocolate. And right now, I only do it maybe once a day because, it will. But the truth is, it's also because it gives me tummy aches later on. Like, I don't, I feel bloated after eating, more than my body needs it. But yeah, that's where my mind went. Like, oh, and I felt like a weight is lifted. Like, I will do whatever the F I want, knowing that I don't have any control over my body, but just thinking about my body, not about me feeling good. Because the gym actually feels really good afterwards. Yeah. Like after I do my butt exercises, even if my butt stays the same, it feels good. I feel like badass, like Tara says. And I go home and I shower and I'm like, oh, I emotionally, I feel better.
Yeah, which brought up the whole, okay, well, first of all, what's the difference between looking good and feeling good? And then also it's you asked the question of, well, wait a second, did you mean physically or did you mean emotionally? And Tara, you said, well, I thought you meant physical, and you said I thought you meant emotional, and really I meant all of it, right? If you're trying to feel as best as you can, what are the practices you're engaging in is sort of how I think about that question. And part of the reason why we wanted to bring the conversation back for this second episode is that then your next statement was, oh my gosh, like I think I have a lot more work to do around this body acceptance or relationship with food thing than maybe I thought. And I was like, well, we need to talk about that because that's nothing to be ashamed of, right? And that's where we all are somewhere on the spectrum of our relationship with food, movement, our body, our emotions, all the things, right?
And here's another thought. If this was something for everyone, that the body you have right now, let's say something happens in the world, right? Like, boom, something happens, and then all of a sudden, everybody, this is an announcement for all the humans in the world. The body that you have is what you're gonna have. No matter what you do, is not gonna change. We will wear that bikini. Nobody's going to be looking at you and saying, look at Elizabeth. Why she's not going to the gym to tight that butt?
To tighten that butt.
Yes. I mean, like, or yeah, or looking at other women like, why does she look that way? She should be exercising or doing whatever to change her body, because we have these thoughts. So probably when we know, oh, we all are who we are, this is it, we will rock that bikini and nobody will be judging. Maybe that just came to mind. Maybe, and just maybe, because then that whole possibility is out, hopefully out of your judgment too.
I would like to think that it would happen that way, but it's totally making me think of a book I read called The Measure. And if none of you have read it, the premise of the book is that the entire world, the entire planet, everybody wakes up one morning and on your doorstep is a box with a string in it. And everyone has no idea what they are, why they got this box, and they have no idea what the string means. And everybody's string is a different length. And they're at first they're all just befuddled, right? Nobody knows why did they get this string and what does it mean? And do you guys have any guesses? Any? So,
Mine is going to very dark places right now.
oh, okay.
Like your value, like the longer the string, the more valuable you are,
Oh,
or the
interesting.
more worthy.
Yeah.
Or like if you don't fit on this string, then you're dying.
Oh, no. So what the string they actually figure out is that the length of your string is how long you're going to live. It's the length of your life. And so some people's string is really, really short, and other people's are in between, and other people's are long. And the whole book is about what like the impact of that that it has on society. And it's obviously fiction, but it's a really good book. But anyway, the reason why it made me think of that is it kind of went to dark places in the book, not positive places. And I guess it could go either way. But anyway,
Yeah.
that was like a total segue. But
No, but everything
check
can
out the
go in.
book. Check out the book, The Measure.
So earlier we brought up that like we're all still on the journey, right? And I think sometimes it's easy to think like, oh, we have this podcast, we've been doing it 2.5 years now, like we are so settled in who we are and what we know and how we live and blah blah blah, right? Um, but I think the truth of it is like we're all there and we're all in different parts on the journey. And in trying to explain some parts of intuitive eating to Maria earlier, I told Maria it took me like at least 25 episodes to fully grasp a concept from it. And that's that I'm here in the room with Elizabeth one on one for that long. It took me forever to truly understand it. So, I think if you're sitting there listening and wondering, like, dude, well, I would want to like change my body and I would eat the cake and do all this stuff. Like, that's okay. We're on the same ride. We may be on different parts of the ride, but like we're all in this together.
And also, no matter where we are on the journey, it doesn't mean that you stay there, right? That you one day are at one point and another day at another point and a third day at a third point, and it kind of moves all around, and that's actually the point. You're in a relationship with food. You're in a relationship with your body. You're in a relationship with yourself. You're in a relationship with movement, and just like any relationship, some days there's good days, and sometimes there's ups, and sometimes there's downs, and sometimes there's in betweens, and it's all over the place. That's what relationships look like. They're not a straight trajectory. They're not all positive. They're not hopefully all negative. They fluctuate, and we learn to be with that.
And I'm going to say, like, we've been doing this episode for a while, and this conversation, just this episode right now, even clarified a little bit more for me of why we have this episode. Yes, these are three experts on three different areas, but before and more than that is three women in a journey to find ways to feel better with ourselves emotionally, physically, mentally, whatever that is. And what we bring to this episode is the mix of three journeys coming together to help other women out there to become curious about different things that we can do to promote our wellness from different perspectives. So it's really us bringing what we know in terms of evidence and science, but also bringing what we know as humans. We're walking this path as well, right? Right, with the ups and downs that that brings, and that's what I love about what we do. We don't want to present ourselves like we have it down. You come listen to us preaching of what you need to do. Is no, we don't have it all down. We have some parts down, and we're going to share with you what those are, including our struggles, so we can learn together and design and rebrand wellness to in whatever way it means to you, woman who's listening to this podcast.
And also to show up messy, right? Just because I'm an expert in nutrition doesn't mean that I always make the very best choices at every single meal, right? Just because Tara is an expert in fitness doesn't mean she sometimes just as doesn't work out and then regrets it, right? Or
Definitely skip workouts sometimes.
yeah, and I definitely ate 700 M&Ms earlier. And I'm still regretting it.
And I still yell at my kids every now and then.
True confessions. Yeah, I mean, but it doesn't it bring up the point. I mean, it's certainly something that I share with people all the time is there is no perfect. Let's stop aiming for perfection. It's a losing proposition. And instead, what if you aim for being kind to yourself? What if you aim for being as consistent as you can be? What if you aim for being self compassionate and forgiving yourself when you need it? What if you aim for doing your best every day, whatever that looks like, to make the choices to do the things to take care of your physical, mental, and emotional health the best way you can that day? And allow that sometimes it's not, you're going to wish you'd done better. And we're here with you and we get it and we share that too. All right, ladies, final thoughts. What's your takeaway, Tara?
My takeaway is that we need to have grace with ourselves. That we're all just trying our best and that's enough.
And Maria, the one with all the questions earlier, what's your takeaway?
My takeaway is about what the difference between what looks good and feel good, and the reasons behind what I do, and paying attention to that.
And by the way, send us a message. I actually would genuinely love to know, were you totally confused after our last episode? What thoughts did you have? What is coming up for you?
Have a good week, and until next time.
For all of our local listeners, are you tired of workouts that feel like punishment? Come sweat with me instead every Friday at 10:30 a.m. at the Leading Lady Collective, 2158 Reynard Court in Annapolis. It's 30 minutes of high-intensity joy. Yes, that's a thing. And it's only $90 a month. We lift, we laugh, and we occasionally question our life choices, but we always leave stronger and healthier. Hope to see you there.
Thank you for listening. If you want to connect with me outside of this podcast, you can find me on Instagram at coaching_therapist.
I'm Elizabeth. You can find me at Elizabeth Harris Nutrition or in my Facebook group, Health and Healing with Intuitive Eating.
And I'm on Instagram and Facebook at Tara De Leon Fitness. Guys, if you loved this episode or any of our other episodes, we would love it if you would leave us a review on Apple Podcast. It really, really helps us get the non-diet word out to the rest of the world. So please leave us a review.
Yes, thank you.